be a lot of kicking. I think what Kerry are doing, you know, they would not say so, but they are picking the team to play Dublin in the All-Ireland semi-final. And it's very clear that when you see Brian O'Begley and Tig Morley put in a wing-backs, they've gone for speed. Aidan O'Mahony is gone, Mark O'Shea is gone from the team that played in the league final and which ripped apart by Dublin. So Kerry are road testing, I think, a team for the semi-final. Now, that's not to underestimate Clare. They are Division 3 champions. They have had a brilliant run, and of course they played very well against Roscommon. They have a few players like Gary Brennan and David Tubridy that every county would like to have, but yet I think Kerry, they won't say so, but they're looking down the line.
Oh, sure. Well, I suppose they have to at this stage of the season. Joe Brodley, just before we talk about the senior games, from your point of view, because the Derry Miners were in action here in the last few minutes against...
Movement beginning now. That's going to change what we've had over the last 5 or 6 years. So, you know, hopefully we'll move into a post-Jim McGuinness era. You know, I think it's fair enough. I think it's fair enough to call it that.
Michael,
you know?
it's the quietest I've ever seen Joe during a minor game, you know, because Derry were playing. He just, you know, so
it was an excellent skill base.
People on the other side of the stadium could hear you roaring. Colin was saying that he expects the Kerry to expect the same from the Galway tip match, because when they met
with Kerry, because the Kerry goalkeeper today is Brian Kelly, and he's playing in just his second All-Ireland quarter-final. He faced Galway here 2 years ago. His full back line is unchanged, with Shane Enright and Mark Griffin joining the most experienced man at the back, and that's Killian Young. The first of 3 changes for the Kingdom is at number 6, where fit again Peter Crowley replaces seasoned campaigner Aidan O'Mahony. There's also a change in midfield, where this afternoon David Moran gets to start in place of Brian Sheehan. Stephen O'Brien switches out to wing forward today, where he's joined by Paul Murphy, and Donnacha Walsh playing in his 9th All-Ireland quarter-final. And the third change from the Munster final sees former Footballer of the Year James O'Donoghue start his first game for Kerry since last year's All-Ireland final. Meanwhile, Clare's goalie Joe Hayes has been a championship player now since 2007, missing just 1 season through injury. In front of him, fullback Kevin Hartnett is flanked by Shane Hickey and Marty McMahon. Both cornerbacks played here in the club final some 6 years ago. Under 21 player Cian O'Dea is joined on the half-back line by veteran Gordon Kelly and the attack-conscious Dean Ryan. At centre field, there's a towering figure, the towering figure indeed, of Gary Brennan and his usual ally, Cathal O'Connor. There's a bright and lively trio at half-forward, where Jamie Malone is linking up with the Collins brothers, dual player Podge and the industrious Sean. And then up front, Owen Cleary and David Tubridy will hope to do some real damage to the Kerry defence, while teenager Pierce Lillis is also a real threat. Well, Clare led by go again. This time they vary it somewhat, in as far as Paul Gainey, and Gainey does the needful. Kerry lead. League final against Kildare. In fact, had a red card rescinded in the week before that in order to play. This one he catches. Nicely done. Transferred outside, back from O'Brien. This is Enright. Oh, off the post and back into the hands there of Podge Collins. So this is James O'Donoghue territory. Chance to put Kerry back into the lead again. No problems for the former footballer. Taking a little step inside Sean Collins. Nicely down as far as Donnacha Walsh. Quickly in, very good ball in towards James O'Donoghue. Runs on towards Gainey, and the full-back having to get his hand to that one. Still in difficulty there. Kevin Harnett, the full-back. Gainey back here from the pass by Peter Crowley, and the ball eventually put over the bar. Neat football. Good completion there by Paul Gainey. As in Sligo last week, or rather the previous week, he got three of his 5 points were from frees. This is nicely done. 1:45 already today, and no trouble with the second free kick. And the teams are level here in this.
But Donnacha Walsh, and we've mentioned him 3 times in terms of being marked, still has
Gerald Stadium against Kerry back in June in that Munster semi-final. Only 3 today so far, but Kerry with just 1-3, but they are ahead, and the chance to expand that now, which they duly take, with Darren O'Sullivan kicking over his first of the afternoon. Came on as a sub last year against Kildare and got several scores.
He did, and they can make it look so simple when they get a little space and time like that. And it's 2 or 3 quick balls by Kerry, and suddenly they're the man on the end of it.
3 men chasing after him. Picks out Morley again, back on the ground where he won a He captained Temple no to a junior All-Ireland win back in February. Here's James O'Donoghue. That looks straight, that looks direct, and that's over the bar. And that's how it's done. Great score from James O'Donoghue. His second point in the semi-finals came around. Paul Murphy racing after it. Dean Ryan tries to close the space on him, but then Kerry are so quick, beautifully executed into Darren O'Sullivan, and the goalkeeper encouraging the umpire to wave it wide, but it's a white flag instead, and Darren has got a second point.
Great score. Of course, he'd encourage him to wave it wide, but a great score. Darren himself knew it was over, turned away the minute it went over.
Indeed, it was well over. The ball gives it to Stephen O'Brien. Murphy again. Back to Donncha Walsh. Got that goal after 20 minutes. And now he has tagged on a point as well. Nice return for a player playing in his 47th championship. Inside to Dean Ryan. He's got Lillis inside near the goal area, playing it in behind Tubridy, but it does eventually reach Pierce Lillis, and Lillis puts it over the bar. Finally, there's a point for the 19-year-old from Clare. And it's under the post. Colin Cooper, of course, missing today because of injury, an injury sustained in the Munster
themselves, but they have a nice lead.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going entirely to script, and there would be more atmosphere, I think, at the blessing of the Greys, because the game is a dead duck. It's over. I think Kerry are going through the motions. I've been very disappointed with Clare. They've defended in numbers but haven't defended well, and they've gone away from the traditional kicking game as a result of that. And even though they've had 2 against 2 on several occasions, they haven't kicked the ball in. As a result, they've got 1 point from play, and they haven't really performed. Donncha Walsh and Darren O'Sullivan have been excellent for Kerry, and Gary Brennan hasn't sort of exerted the control Clare needed. So it's a poor game, and it's probably over at this stage, and Kerry are not learning much.
I suppose the thing about it is, Joe, from Clare's point of view, they could have been much further behind, but some of Kerry's shooting has really been off form.
Well, Kerry are not enjoying their work today. You know, they're playing with a sort of absent-minded focus of factory workers at the conveyor belt. And although they're very open inside their 45 and they're leaving their fullbacks one-on-one and very exposed, Clare are much too narrow, far too much hand passing. They're refusing to kick long over the top. And I think that's for 2 reasons. The Kerry defenders are out sprinting the Clare forwards, and the Clare inside forwards are starting to lose their enthusiasm. But I think the big issue for Kerry is just that they're just finding it very difficult to become motivated, and they are sort of, to say, just grinding through it with no pleasure, and you can see that in the game. They're playing without their normal inventiveness.
I'm not surprised that he has a frustrated look on his face.
The atmosphere is very dead. Clare are finding it virtually impossible to score because they're getting caught up in that Kerry swarm in the middle third, where you don't want to be against Kerry. You want the ball over the top, but because the Kerry inside backs are out sprinting their men for every ball, Clare are now stopped kicking the ball over the top, and it really is their doom now.
Sure. You've been looking at the Kerry setup as you see it, Kieran.
Yeah, well, it's basically, it was before the game we discussed what would Clare do, and they drop bodies back, but Kerry are basically going after them. And we spoke about how they drift out to this midsection of the pitch and they try and squeeze you. They try and put the squeeze on the guy delivering the ball. They try and turn you over in that section, but you can see the space that they are leaving inside. They are leaving 2-on-2 inside. Now, Clare are living off scraps. They haven't utilised it, largely because they do pressurise the kicker. They don't get that space out the field. But I think Clare in the second half have to try and go for that. Again, you can see it here. Bodies right across that mid-sector. They've drifted off. This time Clare expose it a bit. They have the 2 men inside. They get a quick ball in, and it shows what can be done when you get in their own.
David Tubridy on a spread it wide. A little bit of control being exerted on this one. Pressing forward here is Jamie Malone. We haven't seen a lot of him so far in this match, but we have now, and he's got a point. Good start to the second half for Jamie Malone from Corrafin in County Clare, which of course is the club of the former All-Star Seamus Clancy, one of the stars of 1992. So 1-8 to 5 points. And to stretch that Clare defence, bring the full back out with him, leave gaps inside. O'Brien, who hasn't scored so far. Darren O'Sullivan, who's got 2 points, and now he's got a brilliant goal as well. 10th ever championship goal, and that comes after 41 minutes.
Yeah, but just look where it came from, Jared. That's it right there. Gordon Kelly caught napping, allows the man inside, and Kerry been doing. That's where a lot of the opportunities for Kerry have come, is that late run, is that darting run, and he just proven.
David Tubridy to tap this one over. Stabs it with his right boot. It's his third of the day.
Fighting.
Well, that's a terrible kick out by Brian Kelly after all the good ones earlier on. Straight to Jamie Malone. Here as far as Tubridy again. 2 in a row, maybe? Yes, indeed. First to come from open play, but gifted to them really by Brian Kelly's somewhat careless. Well, we'll have to wait and see about that one. Right now it's Owen Cleary. And Owen Cleary, the specialist left-footed free taker, is pointed one already. This to try and close the gap. Close it down to 6 points. Oh, he's hit it off the post. He's unlucky. It's gone out. Came on and kicked 4 in the Munster final. Limited time on that occasion. He's got 4 today. Second half. And here's Barry John Keane once again. Elusive, smart, clever. Great score. He doesn't hang around. He must be a very patient guy. He uses subs so many times, but he comes on with devastating effects.
Yeah, he just seems to like it. He's very relaxed when he comes on. And it's a great position to come on like that, just to come on when the game is nearly over. There's plenty of...
Again, chipping it in here towards Gary Brennan, who stayed forward, lays it off to Podge Collins. Can they finish? Well blocked again. Brilliantly done this time. Peter Crowley was going down, both hands out. Did well. Killian Young swept away smartly out as far as Stephen O'Brien. But those gaps at the back for Kerry are going to be very worrying for the team management. They can't afford to lapse like that. Here's Paul Murphy back as an attacker, and an attacker who manages to put this one. And this is where that ball was passed inadvertently. Shouldn't have been so. Eventually Paul Murphy got in there and dug it out somehow. At the other end, all over the... Terrific player down through the years. Good to see him get some game time. Cleary kicks it, puts it over the bar. Didn't catch it well. Caught it horribly badly. Once again, Brian Sheehan. Some 40 metres out from the target. Missed one a few moments ago. He's not going to miss 2 in a row, surely. And he doesn't. And Barry John Keane, 2 points already since coming on. Fancies a third. Oh, what a substitution. He will guarantee you 3 points every time he comes off the bench.
Well, he may be an impact sub, but he is certainly looking like an impact starter for Kerry, because they need guys like that on the pitch. They need the pace.
The quandary he was in, back as far as Pat Burke, and Burke says, give it to me and I'll do the business, and he does. Very fine point indeed.
Well, at least he's very harmless.
Paul Gainey's going to try and put this one over from 20 metres out. Score of 2 points from open play so far. So that's just worrying for him. It's back with James O'Donoghue. Spins, gets it on the right, puts it over. He's got 5. Good day's work. 2 from open play. Decides against running it, gives it inside instead. O'Brien once more. Coming in at an angle, and he's got his score for the day.
Clare, it has been a great journey for them, an abrupt ending. And if they do learn the lessons and they do go on and play in Division 2 next year, they can get a bit closer.
And that one is put over by Cleary.
At the same time, they will go away and look at themselves and say, we have things we need to do.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, it turned out to be a bit of a bore the second half, and the result was basically in line when they met in June in the Munster Championship. But I think Clare have exposed a lot of frailties in the Kerry defence. I'd say Kerry will be very unhappy with the overall performance. I'd say they hope that Donegal will beat Dublin, because I think they'd have great problems against a Dublin forward line firing the way that we have seen them. And the other thing about it is I think that the Clare project, though derailed today, is still going in the right direction. They've made progress from Division 3 to Division 2. They've got 5 championship matches. Okay, they've been exposed. But, you know, there is a huge gulf between the top 3 or 4 teams and the rest. So, like, even though Clare have been beaten badly, they still made massive progress this year, and they're on the right track But Kerry, I'd be worried if I was a Kerry player and seeing what's coming down the line.
Sure, and just a final word about Clare, Joe, and I think that's a reasonable point of Collins, and it's not being patronising to them. You know, this year, they will reflect on this year and say, do you know what, we're in a better place
Well, everybody's
than we
very,
started.
but everybody's very quick to outrage now, you know,
I know.
in this area. I mean, everybody's outraged all the time. You see, people are fuming and blasting other people, and if you say well, how patronising was that? You know, all that sort of stuff, you know, and it's unfortunate that it has become part of the fabric of Irish life now. It's not patronising at all to say that it wasn't a contest,
Sure,
and that Clare were never in it. I mean, I think that Colm's right, that the most worrying thing about the frailties in Kerry's defence were that Clare played a very predictable way. They abandoned their kicking game because they played quite defensively. And notwithstanding the fact that they were hand passing and solo running their way through, on 4 separate occasions they created very good goal chances, which a better team would have taken.
Yeah.
And that's a real frailty, running through the middle. And we've seen on the last 3 occasions when they've met Dublin that that's exactly where their problems have been, and nothing has been done to cure that. And we see the problem with who's going to play midfield, Sheehan on. Clare made them think about those things today, there's no doubt. But the truth is that there is a huge gulf. And I mean, there's a massive difference between Division 3 football and Division 1 football. And there's a massive difference between Division 1 football, as we saw with Roscommon and Down and teams like that, and Kerry, Dublin. You know, so there are 2 gulfs to cross. But you know, this is serious progress. I just think they lost a bit of faith in themselves today. They wouldn't kick the ball long whenever they had opportunities inside, and they resorted to holding possession and being overly cautious.
And the other thing about it was, Kieran, that they couldn't buy a lucky dip in terms of actually trying to get a goal. And when a goal came,
like a goal gives you energy and it gives you a bit of belief. And if they had gone early goal in the second half and they had the chances, it would have given them a bit of purpose. But obviously Darren O'Sullivan's goal came early on, and that sucked any life out of them. But you know, in fairness to Clare, in the second half, Michael, they pushed up, they came out, they went for it. Now, unfortunately, aside from Gary Brennan in the middle of the park, they've no primary ball winner. So after that goal, as I said, as Joe alluded to, they did create the chances. They got inside the scoring zone, and they were very, very, very unfortunate that they didn't get something out of the game. They hit the post, they hit the crossbar, and that at least would have given them a little bit of energy, would have got them back into the game. But that goal, unfortunately, the time that it came, finished them off. Because they started the second half brightly, because they had pushed up, they had more possession in the second half. They played more in the Kerry half. They just couldn't take their chance.
Kerry looked a bit more motivated when the subs came in, because the subs were playing for a reason. You know, the settled team that was there were really going through the motions today. So it was very difficult to judge. But what you can say for absolute certainty is that they've got problems down the centre of that defence, and serious problems with their midfielders having the pace to track back.